Let's get ready to rumble!
Senior Nation jam-packed show today. Peloton up 5%.
What's up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today.
Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies.
Nia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna.
The best trade idea resource out there.
What is up, Zinger Nation? We are back. It is Monday. The markets are open. Let's start the show today just taking a look at the broader market, seeing what's going on. I do see SPY is down about 0.32% right now. So it's pretty flat, which I think a lot of traders are surprised about. I know a lot of people came in today with some fears of everything going on geopolitically in Afghanistan, but just taking a look at the broader markets, we're pretty flat here in the SPY. Let's go over to QQQ, see how big tech is doing. As you can see, big tech is getting hit a little bit harder than the broader market is. In any times of uncertainty, we will see these growth stocks get hit first and get hit the hardest. So let's go check out the Dow, see what the Dow is doing. See, the Dow is down less than the SPY and less than the QQQ, which is telling me that the markets are just a little uncertain right now. And anytime the markets are uncertain, as I mentioned, the growth stocks, the big tech stocks will start to get hit harder, get hit first, and Dow will usually be a little bit more stable. So I'm curious to see this week how the markets will respond to everything going on in world news, and if we will continue to see that trend of big tech getting hit. Of course, we can go check out some of the most popular names, like Snapchat is down about 5% today, so just getting hammered. It looks like Snapchat does have room to fall down to, it could fall all the way down to the $60 level in the next week or two, I think. But this is one that I have on my watch list. I think if we continue to see it fall, I could be buying the dip on Snapchat. Of course, we had SoFi, which dropped last week big time after earnings. That is continuing to drop. And SoFi looks enticing as it drops lower. Maybe if we get down to this previous support level of, $14 flat, $13.50. It looks like we're about $14.50 right now on SoFi. But yeah, just to give y'all a quick rundown for the show today, we have a big show with Genius Brands is joining us in about 5 minutes. So if you're here to watch Andy Heyward, CEO of Genius Brands, do not fret, do not worry. He will be on with us shortly. And then after that, we have another big interview with MoneyGram CEO. And so we're a jam-packed show today on this Monday. Let me know in the chat what y'all are watching. I see CR is watching Body. That's, of course, Beachbody. Let's check out Body, see what that stock is doing today. Beachbody go, wow, down 7%. CR, what are you watching on this? Let's see if this was from earnings or why this stock is trading down so much. Let's see. Beachbody shares are trading lower after the company reported loss of 12.4 million versus the 10 million. So they lost more than the Wall Street estimate. That was on Friday. And it looks like the stock is still getting hit by that news. So again, this is one that we can add to the watch list if it continues to fall and it becomes an enticing price point. Let me see. Okay, it looks like we're watching NIO as well. NIO had news of a crash that came out in China with a prominent businessman died in an autopilot crash. So NIO stock is trading off about 6% right now. And Tesla, too, is being investigated right now for some autopilot crashes as well. So NIO and Tesla are both trading lower today. Tesla's down almost 5%. So let me know in the chat if y'all are watching Tesla, watching NIO. Let's see. Body is painful. Yeah, I agree. I don't really like Body's chart right now, but like anything else, we've talked about this before. If it gets down to a point, it can become enticing. Roblox we're watching. Roblox was trading lower this morning, down about 4.5%. And the company has earnings coming out this afternoon. So very volatile stock here in Roblox. There's a lot of ways to play it, but I think we're either going to see this shoot up a lot tomorrow or it's going to go down a lot. I do not think we're going to be at this $80 level tomorrow. I think we're either going to be back up toward this $85 level if the company reports good earnings, or we're going to drop down to, let's go to the chart, zoom out a little bit, see if we have any previous support levels. Yeah, so if we report bad earnings, I would not be surprised if we see Roblox drop all the way down to the $70 level. So this is one that I'm staying on the sideline for. I think in the short term, I'm really worried about Roblox's numbers. They had rapid growth throughout COVID when everyone was at home and the lockdowns were going on. But now that everyone's back out, kids are going back to school, I think people are playing less Roblox. Let's check in on Wish. So Wish we saw last week get crushed after the company reported not so great earnings. Currently, the stock is trading, down another 10% today. So if you tried to buy the dip last week after the earnings, you got burned a little bit harder today. So again, like Roblox, I'm staying on the sideline on this one. I think if we see this drop further down, I don't even know how low this can go. It looks like we've blown past all previous support levels. We have nothing holding us up. I don't know. I think the $5 level will be a big psychological level. So if we get down to that level, we'll see a lot of volume come in for people trying to buy Wish shares at $5. Maybe Brad's saying in the chat, is Wish a buy at $4? Maybe. But let's see what everyone else is watching. We have, let's see, we checked out Body. We checked out Roblox. Let's see what, I'm really curious about Tesla here because I think with the news, people will always buy Tesla on the dip. But with this news, I think we could see some more pain in the stock in the short term till we get down to these previous support levels of about 650. I'm staying on the sideline of Tesla, staying on the sideline of Roblox right now. NEO, I think, does get interesting as it continues to drop because NEO here, we're seeing it get hit by news. We can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red candles in a row. This will be a big line in the sand right here. Will it hold the support level that we've seen previously of 38.50, or will we blow through the support level and maybe be on the way back down to the $30 level? I do not know. I do not have a crystal ball. All I know is that I am a shareholder of NEO. I have it in my long-term portfolio because I like the growth aspect of this stock. I think in 10 years, this company will be huge. But right now in the short term, I'm not feeling great about it. It looks like we could be coming down to this previous support level. Let me see. I do have my buddy Chris here. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on, see what Chris Kaji has been watching today. Chris, how we doing?
I'm doing great. You don't have a crystal ball, Aaron. I was really hoping you had one and that you could share that because it sure would make investing a whole lot easier for all of us out here.
I agree. It would make investing a lot easier. Unfortunately, I do not. But what I do know is that if you put your money into good companies that can grow in the long term, you will be better off. Trading in the short term is so hard, Chris. We've talked about it before. So I'm more of just find good companies, throw my money into them, invest them. I like to, trade options on the short term just for fun, but that's more with just money that I know I don't mind losing. But yeah, Chris, what have you been watching today?
Yeah, I've been watching a couple names out there. I saw you mentioned Roblox. They had an acquisition today. They've got earnings after hours today. I know that's one I'll be watching today. Stock got hit the last time they reported earnings, so I don't know, what we're going to see today. And also looking forward to what they have to say for guidance, right? These video game companies for a while, everyone was like, hey, they're pandemic trades. Once everyone returns to work, returns to school, the momentum can't keep up, but video game sales just keep growing and growing. So I don't know if Roblox, that momentum's going to go away as much as some of these analysts are forecasting.
Yeah, we saw kind of a mixed bag with the other video game companies that reported. I believe it was the week before last week. We had EA, Take-Two, and Activision, and kind of a mixed bag. I believe Activision beat while Take-Two did not. Or no, maybe it was EA that beat. Let's pull up the charts. But yeah, I agree, Chris. I think this video game industry is very interesting right now. But yeah, we've talked about it before, Chris, that it's less about the earnings when they come out with them and more about the guidance. So if Roblox, raises guidance, we could see the stock ripping tomorrow. If they report bad earnings and maybe lower guidance, then we'll see the stock trading off. So I'm hanging out on the sideline as we go into earnings for Roblox today. But I agree. I think it'll be, just very, very hit or miss this afternoon is my feeling with Roblox.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what's going on, Aaron? It sounds like we've got some interviews coming up. That's why I'm here. Should we go ahead and dive into that first CEO interview here?
Yeah, let's give the chat a minute. I want to see if we can get up to 100 likes before we bring on Andy Heyward, CEO of Genius Brands, as Jason's saying in the chat. So if you're here for Andy, if you're here for Genius Brands, smash the like, and we will go ahead and bring him on. And so Chris, I teased it earlier. We have CEO of Genius Brands coming on momentarily in a few minutes. And then at 12:30, we have MoneyGram CEO coming on. So 2 big CEO interviews today on Power Hour. Smash the like. You will not be getting interviews like this on any other YouTube channel. And drop your questions in the chat for Andy as well, because we might have some time to get to some questions from the chat.
Definitely, guys, smash that like. Oh, that did not take long, Aaron. I'm seeing 115. It looks like we are going to be good to go here.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get to it, Chris.
All right, guys, joining us on Power Hour today, we have with us Andy Heyward, the CEO of Genius Brands, that ticker GNUS. Welcome to Power Hour, Mr. Heyward.
Thank you, Chris. My pleasure.
Awesome. So we have you here. We got some news out from Genius Brands today. So a 318% year-over-year increase in revenue for the second quarter. Can you talk a little bit about what the biggest drivers were for revenue growth in the second quarter?
Well, we were very fortunate. We had growth across all of our key tentpole businesses. So that would be Cartoon Channel. It would be our brand Stan Lee's Superhero Kindergarten, Rainbow Rangers, our kids media and marketing service agency, Chiscom, our program sales, both domestically and to broadcasters internationally. Pretty much every one of our businesses showed growth.
Awesome. And we got to talk about Cartoon Channel, Superhero Kindergarten. Of course, shout out to you, Andy. I have 3 boys at home. They are 3, 7, and 9, and they absolutely love Superhero Kindergarten. Can you talk a little bit about the momentum that this show has seen and how it has powered Cartoon Channel going forward?
Well, we were very fortunate to have 2 iconic personalities attached to the show. Stan Lee, of course, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the writing was done by Stephen Banks, who wrote every episode of the show, and he was the head writer of SpongeBob SquarePants. The show has just really resonated. We've had a lot of promotion. We've put a lot of promotion across all of our various outlets, including onto YouTube as well, and it's paid off for us. We have over 2,000 episodes of programming licensed on Cartoon Channel, and Superhero Kindergarten, when we debuted it, it took off like a rocket ship, and it now has all of the top 10 most viewed programs are episodes of Superhero Kindergarten. We're averaging about 3.4 million viewers per episode. We put a new episode out every Friday, and to give you a little data point of how important that is, The Simpsons, which has historically been the most successful animated series, averages about 3.1 million viewers per episode. Now, that's been going for many years. That's on broadcast television. We're on streaming television. But streaming is where the momentum is going, away from broadcast. And if we can continue this momentum, it'll be a stunning victory. We're already looking at greenlighting season 2. We are planning to do it once we hit 100 million views. We're in conversations with a number of parties about a live action motion picture based on Superhero Kindergarten. So there's a lot of, and thank you to your, kudos to your children. They have good taste.
Well, I hope we get that announcement of a live action movie soon, because I can't wait to share with them that at least has been thought about. They love the show. you saw a 932% increase in unique users for Cartoon Channel. Is, all of that momentum coming from Superhero Kindergarten, or are some of the other programs also contributing to that total?
Well, it's a good question. Superhero Kindergarten has been the engine. There's no doubt about it. Successful channels are driven by content. You can go back to any time in history. In the 80s, NBC was the last place network. They exploded overnight when they put on the Smurfs. CBS was the last place network, and Saturday morning, when they put on Ninja Turtles, they exploded overnight and they went to first place. Similarly with Kids WB, with Pokemon, and then with Fox with Power Rangers. One show can change the course of an entire network. Superhero Kindergarten has done that. It's increased not only the viewership, the number of downloads of the app, pretty much every number of minutes watched, all of the metrics that we look for have been impacted by Superhero Kindergarten. It's our first original series for the channel. And we have a second one coming up shortly, which is a live show that's called KC Pop Quiz, which is a trivia show. We like to talk of it as sort of Jeopardy for kids, if you will. Very fast paced. We have Casey Simpson, who is a stunning influencer in kids, former Nickelodeon star, who's hosting the show. And we have very high hopes for that impacting the channel and continuing the momentum of growth until we get to Shaq's Garage. And we did an announcement as well today about Shaq's Garage.
Yeah, with that being said, let's move on to Shaq's Garage. I heard about this show, a while ago, and I've been very excited about us. So production has begun on Shaq's Garage, set to air in the second quarter of 2022. And the announcement today that Rob Gronkowski will be the co-executive producer and also voicing the Gronkmobile. I mean, that's a very exciting announcement to have out there today. Andy, tell us about, how did Rob Gronkowski factor into the mix? And, what are some of the highlights investors should look forward to with Shaq's Garage coming next year?
Well, I'll come to Rob in a moment, and I'll start with what to look for as an investor for Shaq's Garage. Shaquille O'Neal has been associated with many, many brands. He is a very, very successful businessman himself. He's now a shareholder in the company, and he's involved in every aspect of this production. What we're excited about with Shaq's Garage is this is competing in a very specialized area in the kids business, the diecast vehicle area. This, if you know, if you have 3 kids, I'm sure you know Hot Wheels very well. It's $1 billion a year business. And there's not a lot of competition in this space, ironically. So Shaq is a collector of cars. We've been talking about what kind of show we could do together for some time. And we came up with this idea of doing a all vehicle show. There are no people in the show, even Shaq. He plays the voice of his car, of course, which is the lead car, but there are no people in the show. It was created for us by Joel Cohen, who was the creator and writer of Toy Story. So similarly with Toy Story, there were no people, and that was a massive success. Also of note is that the woman who now runs our consumer product business, Carrie Phelan, who joined us recently, she did all of the consumer product licensing, not only of Star Wars, which she did for Lucasfilm, but she was also hired and reported directly to Steve Jobs, where she did everything of Pixar. And Cars was a huge success. It was an $8 billion retail sale business. So we're very enthusiastic about the team on Shaq's Garage, about Carrie, who will be doing the consumer product licensing there. And Rob, having joined us, Rob and Shaq are great friends. They do a promotion called Shaq's Funhouse together every year at the Super Bowl. And Rob is probably, I'd say after Tom Brady, the most well-known personality in the NFL. We think he's going to bring a lot of excitement to the show. He's got a great voice. The car is going to be a lot of fun. All of the cars are going to be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to the impact of that when the show goes on the air and the product line comes out.
Yeah, exciting times, to get Shaquille O'Neal and Rob Gronkowski, on board for the show, both from the behind the scenes and also as the voices of cars on that show. So, looking forward to that. So Cartoon Channel, there was an announcement that you saw some big advertisers on it, lots of Fortune 500 companies. The list includes Lego, Kellogg's, Walmart, Nintendo, Adidas. Can you share with us a little bit about how you were able to land some of these big advertisers, and maybe talk about what you're seeing in terms of renewals or more ads from some of these big names?
Well, it's the Cartoon Channel is what's called an AVOD channel, Advertiser Video on Demand, as opposed to an SVOD, Subscription Video on Demand channel. We're fully ad supported. That's where we make our money, from advertising. We have one tiny little tranche of activity, which is with Amazon Prime. That is a small subscription product that has no commercials on it. But essentially, we're an ad-supported product. Pretty much everything at this point is programmatic sales, and the advertisers come where the views are. As the viewership increases, advertising will increase, and will continue that way.
Definitely. So, Andy, one of the questions we're getting in the chat, and I know last time you were on Power Hour, you talked about briefly NFTs. So we've seen the NFT market absolutely explode, and Genius shared, in a press release that they were exploring NFTs. Can you provide any update on what Genius Brands plans on doing in the NFT market?
We're being very cautious still. We haven't jumped in yet. We've had a number of proposals to us, a number of offers. We know that we've got very strong IP, Stan Lee alone, particularly with the new characters coming from there in Stan Lee's universe, and particularly with the Stan Lee Centennial, we think there's lots of opportunity. But it's a very delicate field, and we're cautious, and we're not going to jump into it willy-nilly. We're mindful of the importance of it, but we're also mindful of taking it slowly.
Awesome. So, Andy, we have some more questions from the chat here. So the first one I see from Stock Rider 9 is asking, what is the timeline on Stan Lee's Werewolves or any other Stan Lee universe shows coming out? Any update on some of the Stan Lee intellectual property moving forward?
There's a lot of exciting things going on. We have we're in dialogue on things with Marvel, as people know. We'll announce them when they happen. We're in dialogue with a major motion picture producer. We'll announce that once it's precise as well. We've developed with Michael Uslan, and we put a little bit of this out today, the Stan Lee universe. It's coming forward with a brand that we call True Believers, which was a signature of Stan. We have some extraordinary characters that Stan left behind that have been developed by Michael. Michael was the executive producer of Batman. He is the executive producer of Batman. All of the Batman films, the Batman cartoons, everything. Was a very close friend of Stan, and kind of a comic book guru as well. So this is a very important tentpole for us, and you'll hear a very substantial amount of news coming forward on it in the not too distant future.
Perfect. So, Andy, you mentioned, you had a new hire in the consumer products field. We've got the momentum of Superhero Kindergarten and also Shaq's Garage, highly anticipated next year. Can you give us an update on maybe some toys and some licensed products for both of those shows? Where do we stand on getting those out to market this year and next year?
Well, I would say Superhero Kindergarten, we haven't announced our master toy partner yet, so we're not in a position we can talk about that. Same with Shaq's Garage. We have been approached by a number of different parties. Once something is finalized, we will. We did announce that we migrated our Rainbow Rangers brand from Mattel over to Ever Wrong Toys, which is one of the largest, maybe the largest toy company in China. They will be coming out with a number of figures and role-playing items in second quarter 2022. Rainbow Rangers, I don't know if you followed that or not, but the momentum has been candidly quite stunning there. It's become sought after by every major streaming service, and we've licensed it in recent days to Netflix, where it's performing very well, to Amazon Prime, where it's performing very well, to HBO Max, to Nick continues on Nick Latin America, to CCTV in China, the largest broadcaster in China. It's pretty much, going to be everywhere on every system. We're keeping the new episodes, which will be season 3, exclusively for Cartoon Channel, and that's where they will remain for the first year.
Perfect. Aaron, I'm not sure. Are there any more questions out there in chat or any questions from you for Mr. Heyward today before we wrap?
No, Chris, I think we covered everything that I want to cover. I'll scour through the chat and see if we have any other final questions. But again, for the viewers out there, please smash the like for this great exclusive interview with Andy Heyward, the CEO of GNUS Brands. Thank you, Chris, for coming on the show to conduct it. Andy, is there anything else that you think investors should know before you leave us today?
Well, I'll say two things. Cartoons are timeless. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter what's going on with interest rates, price of gold, price of oil, stock market, Dow, whatever is going on in the global geopolitics. Kids continue to watch cartoons. And we see that. I always like to cite Tom and Jerry was made in 1939 and is still a huge success and continues so today. The second thing is that the company is in a very, very strong financial footing. We have over $130 million in cash. We have no debt. We have no plans to take on debt. We are aggressively looking at acquisitions, and we have a number of things that are on our agenda there, and we'll announce them as soon as we're able to.
Andy, one more question for you, because I saw someone mention in the chat. I won't say the name. There's an internet rumor out there for maybe an additional celebrity to voice in Shaq's Garage. Are there any plans for more celebrities to be attached to Shaq's Garage and maybe voice some of the different cars on that show? Is that something that we can look forward to?
Yes, very much so. We're going to try and have as many of the cars possible voiced by celebrities, and it's going to be kind of a cool thing that people will want to be a part of.
Awesome. I know my kids cannot wait for that show as well. So, Andy, thanks for joining us on Power Hour again, guys. Andy Heyward, CEO, GNUS Brands, ticker GNUS. Thanks so much, Andy, and have a great day.
My privilege. Thank you.
All right, y'all. That was Andy Heyward, the CEO of GNUS Brands. Some very exciting things coming out of the company. Chris, I mean, you might know more about this one than I do, considering you have kids that are actively, partaking in these cartoons, watching them. But yeah, I mean, this first responders one looks really interesting to me. They have the co-writer of Frozen. Andy said that all major streaming platforms are trying to license the show to get it on there. So the company not only has a track record of putting out shows that have success, but they have more in the pipeline, more to look forward to. So certainly a good value right here at $1.60. I'm watching this stock. I have it on my watch list. Do you currently hold the stock, Chris?
I do. So I am long GNUS, and part of it, Aaron, is my kids, right? My kids drive the money, right, that we spend. And Cartoon Channel, actually, it's free, right? It's a free, advertiser-based video thing. But anytime my kids get this excited about a show, I want to at least do more research on it. And that's what led me to GNUS Brands. Rainbow Rangers there on screen, the first responders. My kids didn't get into that one as much, but Superhero Kindergarten, they have absolutely loved. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a voice on the show. And Shaq's Garage, Aaron, I mean, Shaquille O'Neal and Rob Gronkowski together on a cartoon, that gets me excited, as a fan of sports. So I'm looking forward to that show too.
Yeah, and it seems like they kind of have all the bases covered here. I mean, I don't know what the demographics look like for Rainbow Rangers, but it seems like they have a very much a female cast in this one. Obviously, the Shaq's Garage with Gronkowski, that one might be aimed more at boys. But I love all the different things they are doing. They even have a Warren Buffett cartoon show. That looks really exciting to me. I'm sure you as an investor as well, Chris. But yeah, I love the idea of figuring out what the kids are gravitated toward and then investing in that. Like we were talking about video game stocks earlier. And if you told me that, all your kids are on Roblox, but they're not on, many Take-Two games or Activision games, that would make Roblox more enticing to me, because even if I don't know that much about Roblox or the platform, but all the kids are using it, then that's a good sign to me as an investor.
Yeah, definitely. And, Aaron, as I said, so my kids are 9, 7, and 3, and sometimes it is very difficult to find a show or a movie that they all agree on. And I will say that Superhero Kindergarten is one of those shows that all three will ask for me to put on the TV. So I think that's a good sign when they're hitting all those age demographics. So excellent point from you, that paying attention to something like that could be, worth looking on the investment side of things as well.
Right. All right, y'all. Well, if you were here for the Genius Brands interview, do not go anywhere because we have another exciting CEO interview coming up with MoneyGram CEO Alex Holmes. The company did just report earnings. We will go through the earnings and some other things about the company. Chris, I don't know if you can hang out for this interview as well, but we'd love to have you. Yeah,
sure. I will hang out. I'm more than happy to help out today.
All right, awesome. Well, without further ado, let's get over to Mr. Holmes. Alex, welcome to the Benzinga Power Hour. Thank you for taking time out of your busy Monday to join us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Of course. So before we get into earnings and some details about the company, can you just give a brief overview of MoneyGram to our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, MoneyGram is definitely probably a little bit different than most people think about. We are a global leader in cross-border money transfers. And basically that means we operate in just about every country in the world and enable the funds flows between point A and point B for effectively first, second, and third generation migrants, but also a lot of mainstream consumers as well. Traditionally, this business has really been about the ability for individuals to get money back home to loved ones and friends and family. But as technology has evolved and as things have changed over the past, over the past decade, but certainly over the last 2 to 5 years in particular, as digital has really skyrocketed, the model has changed quite a bit, and about 33% of all of our business today is driven digitally through our 4.8 star rated app online. And we're actually doing a lot more with domestic transfers and putting in products that are, I would say, continuing to enhance our likability and serviceability to more mainstream Americans, for example, in terms of the ability to download the app and send money directly onto someone's debit card. So, we have a lot of interesting things going on in the pipeline, but certainly, our specialty continues to be cross-border payments, and we continue to focus more and more on improving our, what I would say, customer experience generally, and really focusing on the evolution of younger generations as they continue to come more and more into the brand. Got it. And we did have earnings come out for MoneyGram. What was it, last week, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, a few weeks now. Yeah, at the end of July. Okay, and something that stuck out to me with the earnings and the guidance was that digital transactions, you mentioned it there, but we're up 44% year over year in Q2. How do you see that growth playing out through the rest of the year and into 2022? Yeah, on top of that, we had a 54% increase in online active customers over that same time period. So, the growth of digital has been absolutely phenomenal over the past really 2 years. Back in 2018, we relaunched our app and really came out strong with a very new direction and view of the brand. Really put forward, I think, one of the most innovative and progressive ideas at the time, which was really to change the way in which this business really interacted with consumers. Prior to, I think, those changes, a lot of what consumers saw was really, a brand, but a transaction-based organization. And a lot of the effort that we've put in the last several years has really been about, how do you touch customers differently, and how do you really make yourself more relevant? Today in the online world, about 60% of all of our customers are under the age of 40. And that's a really nice, healthy mix of a lot of new Gen Zs and millennials mixed in there as well. And so I think the idea is that the product has become much more relevant to the up and coming and younger generations, particularly as, again, digital and mobile really are, front and center in everyday life. And so, our digital growth had been, for several months, I think 11 or 12 consecutive months of triple-digit growth, and now we're finally getting into some normalization where we're comping some of those incredible growth rates we saw, particularly during the height of the pandemic this time last year. And so, we've been pushing the envelope there, and have sustained very high double-digit growth. We continue to believe that our online business will continue to put up double-digit growth, probably in the 20-30% range, depending on the month and the time of year. But we're super excited about it, particularly as the way that consumers think about sending money, the way that they think about interacting with each other, definitely continues to be more and more and more about that online experience and how they can interact with each other more dynamically. And that's exactly what our services are beginning to bring, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Great insight on digital revenue going forward. One of the questions I have here is about crypto, right? Anytime we talk to companies in the financial industry, it's always important to hear, their thoughts on the cryptocurrency market. Can you share a little bit how MoneyGram is involved in cryptocurrency and maybe a long-term outlook for the company in that segment?
Yeah, absolutely. I think crypto is certainly, as you said, one of the most relevant topics when you think anything financial in today's day and age. We had a wonderful relationship with Ripple for a couple of years, where we really did some unique things in the industry in terms of looking at how money can move, differently through their blockchain and utilizing XRP in particular. Unfortunately, that service came to an end with kind of all the changes going on with the SEC and the investigations and regulations that are potentially coming forward there. But crypto continues to be a worldwide phenomenon, continues to be something that I think is going to be relevant for a very, very long time. We recently signed an agreement with a company called CoinMe, which has been pretty revolutionary, I think, in really trying to bring crypto more mainstream to Americans, and they signed some unique deals a couple of years ago, really allowing someone to walk into a Coinstar machine, put in cash, and get a tokenized receipt to go load their CoinMe wallet and actually buy Bitcoin, which is a difficult thing to do. And I think that's one of the most fascinating things today about crypto is that despite its mainstream popularity, it still is very difficult for mainstream consumers anywhere in the world to participate in it. And I also think that, there's opportunity to continue to expand that. So what we're doing with CoinMe is enabling consumers to do cash in and cash out of their CoinMe wallet, which effectively allows them to get fiat currency into the network so that they can actually buy and sell their Bitcoin through CoinMe. So we signed a similar agreement with Gcoin, which is tokenized gold, which is, I think, extremely interesting. And similarly, trying to take an asset that historically is, kind of rarefied air. It's hard for people to participate in that, but tokenizing gold is extremely interesting and really very similar to what's happening in the crypto space. So, I think crypto is super interesting. I think it's a little bit early days, around its, practical application for, really transacting and buying and selling. One of the questions that we're often asked is, do I believe it's going to displace, money transfers? And I think, there's a potential for it to benefit money transfers. I think there's a potential for it to enhance a lot of what we do. Yet at the same time, it really becomes that interoperability into fiat currency, becomes that question of, what do I do with the crypto and what are my access points around that? And, at this point in time, we haven't seen a lot of really utilization or request for, crypto in, kind of mainstream consumers, right? And, our target demographic, again, historically being, first, second, and third generation migrants, their focus has traditionally been on making sure that money gets home extremely quickly, and that those loved ones that pick it up on the other end are able to utilize that, fiat currency as quickly as possible. But, that being said, I think there are a lot of applications for blockchain still to come. I think there's a lot of excitement in, potentially, stabilizing things through stable coins and other, interesting ideations out there around, how do we continue to improve the financial, flow? How do we continue to improve consumers' access to currencies? We have a lot going on in the background. I find crypto to be, definitely an opportunity area for MoneyGram and something that we're going to continue to pursue.
Perfect. And so you said that CoinMe partnership, then that's open to all MoneyGram customers just as a additional service?
Yeah, and I think you're going to continue to see that evolve in the coming months as well. CoinMe just launched an app, which is really pretty unique. We're really kind of just laying the foundation and groundwork around all of the practical applications from a MoneyGram and CoinMe partnership. So really exciting to see, and definitely, I think one of the first two companies really partnering up to try to bring, again, crypto more mainstream to consumers. Because again, that interoperability in and out of fiat, if you have an online account today for any type of crypto, you understand sort of the complexities around, the in and outs of it. It's easy to buy, it's harder to sell, it's harder to get your cash back. And so that's something that we're definitely trying to enhance and improve with the partnership.
Yeah, definitely. So, we are a stock idea show here. So I know you can't comment on merger and acquisition, activity. But one of the things we've heard with MoneyGram is that it has been a target of a potential acquisition. Why do you think MoneyGram could look appealing to a larger company as an acquisition target?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question, and I think the way you phrase it is exactly right. Why would MoneyGram be attractive to another organization? And I think it's a number of things, but first and foremost, we have a globally recognized brand name that enables interoperability of funds flow in over 200 countries and territories. 90+ of which are, 90+ of those countries which are digitally enabled today. So, when you begin to think about the future of society, you start to think about, the world becoming increasingly flatter, people moving around, and the continued need for funds flows. We have the rails already built. We have the settlement engine in place, and we have a lot of the front-end applications that are required and back-end capabilities, to enable seamless cross-border payments and funds flows. The opportunity around that is pretty extraordinary, and the ability to send large dollar amounts, send small dollar amounts, the ability to interoperate with businesses to consumers and consumer to businesses, and not just consumer to consumer, is a huge opportunity that's out there, and something that we are beginning to participate in, over the past couple of months, and we have a lot of interesting partnerships coming in the future. And so I think, anything you read about in today's day and age, whether it's crypto, whether it's fintech, whether it's payments, it's really about how do we get more consumers directly into our brand? How do we actually make funds flows more seamless and simplified? And there are so many large-scale organizations out there today that would actually be completely advantaged by either a partnership with us or, to your point, ownership of the company. So to me, I think we have this incredibly valuable asset that's really been hidden behind a lot of turmoil and challenges that the company faced really coming out of the financial crisis. And I'm really proud to say that, over the past several years, we've addressed all those legacy issues, and we're actually in a very strong position today to really continue to invest in product and customer acquisition strategies and really begin to invest in growth of the company on a go-forward basis. And so I think when you put all those pieces together, I think it makes for a very interesting opportunity for someone that's interested.
Definitely. I also saw a question here from the chat from Conroy asking about a spinoff of the old business from the new digital business. Is that something that's been considered by MoneyGram here?
It's an interesting question, and one that, we do get from time to time. When you have an incredibly valuable asset like MoneyGram.com and the strength and the growth that we've seen coming out of that business, I think it's a logical question to ask yourself. Does it make sense, to spin that off? Does it make sense to try to monetize, those assets? And I think the question is a good one, and it's certainly something that we continue to look at as we think about the future of the organization and the growth potential of the company. I think one of the questions that really underlays that is really the interoperability between our two business models today. I think consumers out there look at our online digital platform and value sort of the seamless integration on the front end, but also a lot of the back end payments are paid out through our cash network all around the world. Similarly, consumers going into cash locations for sends, oftentimes now we're sending money into wallets and bank accounts. And so there's a lot of interoperability between the businesses today. And I think the question becomes, how do you ensure that remains in the future? Because they both create value on top of each other. And so those are some of the pieces that need to be looked at as you consider any of those types of options. But certainly, my job is to try to continue to improve the business, drive growth, and really create value for shareholders. And that's definitely, true to our vision and something that we're extremely focused on.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that insight there, Alex. Do you think that's part of the reason why shares are valued the way they are is because of maybe the digital growth being kind of tied into that legacy business and not being such a pure play digital finance company?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. I think any legacy organization today, whether it's in the auto industry or any others that has transformed itself and has begun to push the agenda forward. It has challenges associated with valuations being given to those that are perceived to be the future and those that are perceived to be quite different. And so part of our opportunity is really to shed the shackles of the past and really begin to focus shareholders, investors, and outsiders on really what this company is about today, who we are, and how you interact with us. And I think most people, when challenged with that question, that go download the app and actually begin to interact with MoneyGram for the first time, actually find a very different organization than they've ever seen before. And so, I think there's always that challenge of, how do you shed sort of some of that legacy baggage? How do you get people to see a different company and change the perception of your organization? And I would say, the reaction that we've seen in the stock over the past year, I think is reflective of that. And I think that, that's just the beginning and that we've got a long way to go in terms of, unlocking value. And I think, getting that proper return for shareholders that we deserve.
Got it. And then Alex, I do see a question in the chat about transfer fees. Does the company have any plans to do anything to try to lower those transfer fees? Or, how do you see that as MoneyGram's transfer fees? How do they stack up against peers?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question, and I'm glad you asked it. We've actually been extremely focused on fees over the past, really a couple 3 years, and I do believe in today's day and age, and on top of user experience, really price and value are at top of mind for all of our customers and for any customer in any industry for that matter. The World Bank put out who's kind of the leading expert, I suppose, in terms of, or at least the leading representative expert in terms of, cross-border payments. And, they put out a 3% initiative a long time ago. Our average fee to send globally, which is kind of a blended mix of cash and digital, is less than 3%. And that's for someone to send $400, which is, basically the average face amount sent in our, at least for our target customers in today's day and age. So, we're proud that we've achieved that level. And there's a lot of, I would say, startup noise and fintech noise out there about, high fees and high costs. And it's something that we're extremely sensitive to. And we've taken a lot of that cost out. When you go into the digital world, it's even less in some cases, for example, sending from digital to digital, sending from account to account, it starts at $0 on the fee side and has, a very small marginal FX associated with it. So I think if you put us up against any brand out there, we've got probably the most competitive fees and total cost to any consumer that's, in the industry. And I'm very proud of that and something that we're going to continue to push the agenda on. So I think, it's funny when you look at even domestic payment platforms like, even Venmos that were free for so long are now beginning to charge, even up to 1.5%. So, that is definitely an area of focus for us and something that, we believe is an area we can be extremely competitive.
Got it. And then I'm trying to see if we have any more questions coming out of the chat, but we appreciate you coming on the show today. Is there anything you would like to leave investors or potential investors with before leaving today?
Yeah, I would just simply say, I do think that it is a very new MoneyGram that we're operating, today, and absolutely everything that we've done from customer experience and digital, the app itself and the capabilities and products that we have are really second to none today. And I would ask everyone to get out there, download the app and begin to send money to friends. And we have an actually interesting service which people don't really know much about, which is repeat sending, which is the ability to actually schedule an amount of money and then actually schedule it on a weekly or monthly basis for repeat sending. So it's great for, making payments to, lawn guys, nannies, et cetera, whatever you may have to do. So, it's a very different than I think a lot of people think about. And that perception, continues to get changed. And I think the value continues to get created. So, no matter what happens in the world, people, consumers, individuals continue to send money. It's a $700+ billion industry, continues to grow. We had an increase in 41% in face value sent in the last quarter. So money is moving, and it's a great investment for anybody because MoneyGram plays a huge role in that and will continue to do so on a go-forward basis. So I really appreciate the time. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about the company, and thank you guys for having me on.
Of course. Thank you for coming on the show today. Yeah. And maybe I'll have to explore that. See, maybe it might be easier than sending a check to my landlord every month to just get a scheduled payment on MoneyGram.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. And again, viewers out there, Alex Holmes, Chairman and CEO of MoneyGram, that ticker MGI. Alex, thanks so much for joining us on Power Hour today. We look forward to following your company's progress going forward.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your Monday.
All right, you too.
All right, y'all. That was Alex Holmes, Chairman and CEO of MoneyGram. As Chris mentioned, ticker MGI. We have had two big interviews today on the Power Hour, Genius Brands and now MGI. So smash the like for a packed show on Power Hour. Chris, we do only have a few minutes left. Should we check back in on some of the stocks we mentioned at the top of the show?
Yeah, definitely. I know you mentioned Roblox. I was trying to look at the earnings calendar, and Roblox is the big one I'm watching today. We also have CleanSpark reporting after hours today, CLSK. I know that's one that you and Luke have talked about recently. I think this could be a good report, right? CleanSpark getting into the Bitcoin mining business. And they could have a strong quarter, to report with the rising price of Bitcoin lately. What do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point you bring up. I think, just looking at this chart, it looks like we have been in kind of a downtrend for a while. We saw the stock get all the way up to $40 early January when we saw a lot of other Bitcoin sympathy plays just ripping. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind that play at all. If you have, maybe I'll just take a couple $100 that I have in my kind of YOLO trade account and look at some calls for CleanSpark or something like that. But, Chris, it's always risky getting into trades into earnings. So I wouldn't necessarily advise it unless you are looking at it as more of just a YOLO trade that, you wouldn't mind losing a little bit on. But yeah, I mean, this company I think has great long-term potential. The Bitcoin aspect of it is just, to me, like a little added bonus. I do like the company's core, mission of bringing microgrid technology to the energy space. I mean, I think that's something that's long overdue. That right now, the way it's set up, Chris, is that one energy grid will power like a whole city. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have say a military base on the same energy grid as your neighborhood. And that would allow, foreign adversaries or domestic hackers, whoever it may be, if they were able to get access to it, to shut down the energy for not only a residential part, but as I mentioned, where a military base may be located. So I think for safety reasons, we will in some time in the future be moving more toward these microgrids. And if CleanSpark is able to emerge as a leader in that industry, I think the company has great growth potential.
Yeah, definitely. I love what you said, right? It's almost like the cherry on the top right now, an additional business for them. And for me, maybe just sitting out on the sidelines. So not playing it into earnings, but listening to the earnings report later today, the earnings call, and then maybe making a trade on this a couple weeks down the road, depending on, what you hear today. I really want to hear their guidance, as you said, that microgrid business, how is it progressing? And then also, how is the Bitcoin segment going? So that could be important for investors to kind of get an overall outlook on that growth ahead, past the earnings report today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very much safer way to play it, Chris, is to just wait for the earnings today, see what the company says. But yeah, I mean, this is an early stage company, so I think I wouldn't be expecting too much in terms of revenue. But yeah, as I mentioned, I like the stock's growth potential long term. And while we are on the topic of Bitcoin, I do have a crypto update brought to you by Voyager Digital. Let me get my crypto heat map up on the screen real quick. As we can see, another great day for crypto. Most major coins are in the green. Bitcoin is up a little bit more than 1%. And look at Doge, Chris. Doge is up more than 10% today, trading at around 33 cents a share. Doge has just been on a tear, up more than 60% throughout the last month. Cardano, ticker ADA, is also doing well. And yeah, we have the Voyager link in the description. If you deposit $100 and use the code ZING, you will get $50 in free Bitcoin. So I encourage all of our viewers to head over to Voyager, create an account, deposit $100, get $50 free in Bitcoin. As I mentioned, the link is in the description. Chris, anything in the crypto world you are watching?
I'm always watching NFTs, so we're seeing Ethereum trade up, as the play there. And Doge has been ripping all weekend. The big thing there I've seen is Mark Cuban, sharing his thoughts on Twitter on how, Dogecoin is moving beyond a meme coin, right? The Dallas Mavericks accept it as payment. And Cuban's been very open about talking about the benefits of Dogecoin being, a crypto that you can use to buy and sell goods. Like with the Mavericks. And, I think that was part of the momentum with Dogecoin over the weekend, but a lot of green on that chart there, on that heat map. So a great day for crypto out there.
Yep. And I know we will be touching on some crypto on Get Technical, which is, of course, our next show coming up right now with Neil Hamilton. So if you like technicals, if you like trading using charts, stick around for Get Technical. We will be going through options as well as checking in on some cryptos. Anything else you want to add, Chris?
That's it. Everyone stay tuned. Get Technical with Neil. And I know Aaron will be on there as well. So thanks for having me on Power Hour. 2 great interviews today. Everyone don't go anywhere. Get Technical up next.
Yeah, and y'all, if you haven't smashed the like yet, smash it for Chris, because Chris was on Spax Attack for a full hour. We gave him a few minutes break, to go get a glass of water. But besides that, he hopped back on the stream, marathoning 2 hours in a row. So shout out Chris for helping out today. Smash the like for Chris. Thank you again. And yeah, without further ado, let's get over to Get Technical.